Welcome to Sinister Heroes. I'm your host, Danny Iniquitous. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel about Dungeons and Dragons where we try and take a darker tone with everything we do here. So if you like edgy kind of content, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. A big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. What you do is absolutely amazing. And if you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, the link is in the description, as well as a link to our good friends at Critical Failures, where we're part of a live stream game. Check us out every Wednesday night. With all that out of the way, we were going to finish off all those tiny little monsters and talk about the Deep Gnomes. The Deep Gnomes, they come to us from the Monsters of the Multiverse, as well as the Elemental Evil Player's Companion. They are gnomes that grew and evolved from being in the underdark. So they have dark grayish skin. They are, just gnomes, and I tend to hate them because they're small, but they do follow that same trope. They do have a very difficult world to live in, so they ended up having to develop crafty techniques in order to survive. They do still live a extremely long period of time. They are hard to get rid of. They're like termites. They do fit this kind of role in the Underdark of being the unsuspecting survivor. Because although they're a mess and they really shouldn't be down there, anything down there kind of develops this insane mentality because everything's so difficult and harsh to live that you have to be harsh to survive. But them being the kind of entities that they are one of the few small races that are out there. So it's very unusual to see them because they would usually be picked on pretty hard by everybody else. But they still have managed to survive. So credit where credit's due. Keep in mind my bias towards disliking the smaller races in D&D aside, all gnomes are a very powerful race. Deep gnomes happen to be better than regular gnomes in my opinion, but use them at your own discretion. You do have to suffer by actually accepting the fact that you're playing a gnome. But again, they are still a powerful race. Their size is small. Their walking speed is 30 feet. As an Underdark native, they do have dark vision out to 120 feet, which is very great. It's superior to other regular dark visions by almost double the distance. They do have an ability called Gift of the Svirfneblin. The Svirfneblin is kind of what they're called Underdark. It's very hard to pronounce. I'm pretty sure I'm doing it wrong, but it's a very bizarre looking word. And Gift of the Svirfneblin, starting at 3rd level, you can cast a Disguise Self spell with this trait. And starting at 5th level, you can cast Non-Detection spell with it, without requiring a material component. You can cast either of these spells with this trait once a day, and you cannot cast it again using this trait until you finish a long rest. So if you cast Disguise Self, you cannot cast Non-Detection with it, unless you have spell slots, in which case you can use them by expending any of those spell slots. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spellcasting ability for this, and you choose this when you select your race. Again, this is part of the newer species where you can pick your ability scores as you see fit. They do also gain Svirfneblin Camouflage. When you make a Dexterity Stealth check, you can make the check with advantage. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Being small does have its benefits as far as surviving in a very difficult environment, because considering the craggy and underground stalagmites and stalactites and caves and indentures and cracks in certain sides, like, it does give you little areas you can dip into and hide. So being stealthy is in your benefit. They also still retain gnomish magic resistance. You have advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws against spells. All gnomes have this, and nobody seems to bat an eyelash. Anyone else that is a species that has magical resistance, and everybody goes crazy. But it does not give you dexterity advantage on dexterity saving throws against spells. But it does cover Wisdom, which is anything that disables you or debilitates you in combat. Charismas, which is mostly saves from being charmed and those kinds of effects. Still two pretty big and pretty consistent saves that you'll be making throughout your campaign. But I guess the trade-off is you do have to be a gnome to have this ability. Deep gnomes inherently don't actually tend to be that different from regular gnomes. They do tend to mine a lot. They do tend to make jewelry and be more secretive about their lifestyle and staying away from others, and that's really the main difference. They still maintain a lot of the same gnomish attributes. It's just you do not trust others. You're terrified of things you don't know because they can be deadly and dangerous, and that's really inherent of the dangers of living in the Underdark. But outside of that, they're still constantly mining. They're always working with gems and making jewelry, and these very great craftsmen. Intuition still follow them as gnomes. But again, it's really more so the effects of the Underdark that really turn you into this this tough-skinned, paranoid kind of a person, because it's the only way you survive out there. You don't get the benefit of having a safe place to live, because the instant you're found out, somebody more powerful will try and take it. And whether it's drow, whether it's myconids, whatever it is, anything that's down there wants everything that's down there. It's a very harsh, unforgiving environment and world, and these species that do come up from there and evolve from being in there develop a very necessary social defensive mechanism of being distrustworthy of other people, and really not wanting to involve themselves in anything that doesn't benefit or protect themselves. With all that being said and done, we're going to bring this video to a close. I hate small species, gnome particularly, but deep gnome is still a very strong species or race, depending on what terminology you want to use in games. They will not fall short of whatever necessities you'd feel, and they do have the benefits necessary to prove themselves very worthwhile and a strong base for building a character and a candidate. If you've made it this far into the video, definitely hit that like and subscribe button. A big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We love you guys so much. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. What you do for us is amazing. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter, the link is in the description, as well as the link to our good friends at Critical Failure, where we're part of a live stream game every Wednesday night. Check us out, and thank you for giving a spooky kid a chance.